Summer heat is baking the pavement outside my door. Kids are opening hydrants, splashing water on the floor. Barricades are set up at the avenue intersection. Everyone is gathering, seeking musical perfection. Coolers packed with ice, beverages flowing free, celebrating unity as far as the eye can see. Select the towering high behind the amplifier stacks, spinning heavy acetates, playing exclusive tracks. Subwoofer shaking windows on the third floor flat. Rude boys congregating wearing the fedora hat. Police cruisers pass by, but they decide to let us be, because the vibration brings a temporary amnesty. Turn the volume maximum, let the speakers blow. Watch the massive population putting on a show. Concrete shakes and trembles underneath our sneakers. Information travels through the massive black tweeters. Welcome to the rhythm block, the undisputed zone, where the heavyweight champion claims the sonic throne. Basslines hitting harder than a heavyweight fight, dancing furiously straight into the early morning light. Rhythm block, the neighborhood is totally alive. This is the exclusive place where we all survive. Microphone is echoing across the crowded square. Lyrical artillery exploding in the humid air. Toasters chanting melodies, capturing the mood. Sharing plates of festival, eating spicy island food. Generation mingling, the elders and the youth, listening to the poetry, absorbing all the truth. Neighbors leaning out from the fire escape stairs, throwing down confetti, abandoning their cares. Sweat is dripping down my spine, rhythm takes my hips, singing every lyric with my ruby painted lips. Strangers becoming family beneath the street lamp glow, caught inside the younger current, going with the flow. Volume maximum, let the speakers blow. Watch the massive population putting on a show. Concrete shakes and trembles underneath our sneakers. Information travels through the massive black tweeters. Welcome to the rhythm block, the undisputed zone, where the heavyweight champion claims the sonic throne. Basslines hitting harder than a heavyweight fight, dancing furiously straight into the early morning light. Rhythm block, the neighborhood is totally alive. This is the exclusive place where we all survive. Decibels increasing, the foundation starts to crack. Ain't no turning around, ain't no looking back. Community assembled, unbreakable and strong, singing the chorus of this never-ending song. Oh, yeah. Rewind the track, pull it up, maximum capacity, let it drop. Welcome to the rhythm block, the undisputed zone, where the heavyweight champion claims the sonic throne. Basslines hitting harder than a heavyweight fight, dancing furiously straight into the early morning light. Rhythm block, the neighborhood is totally alive. This is the exclusive place where we all survive. Block party endings, sun coming up, ears still ringing. See you tomorrow. Oh, across the marble table, constructing a dynasty that is fundamentally stable. We are the architects of a brand new acoustic dimension, commanding the absolute, undivided global attention. Columns forged from the purest, reverberating sound, establishing our sovereignty upon this fertile ground. I wear the invisible crown of the auditory queen, surveying the most magnificent kingdom ever seen.
Laying down the heavy foundation with the massive base, expanding the borders of our designated royal space. Ambassadors of the rhythm, diplomats of the beat, signing cultural treaties on the newly paved street. Our monarchy is not built upon tyrannical oppression, but on the joyful release of musical expression, guarding the palace gates with the heavy amplifier, fueling the eternal inextinguishable kingdom fire. Expanding the magnificent territory mile by mile, ruling the population with an undeniable style. The Constitution is written in a melodic code, paving a glorious, prosperous, everlasting road. Welcome to the unparalleled, majestic groove empire, elevating the collective civilization significantly higher. A dynasty functioning on the perfect reggae time, achieving a supremacy that is absolutely sublime. Groove empire, an unbreakable sovereign state, mastering the unpredictable, complicated fate. Summoning the royal council to the central courtyard, patrolling the perimeter with the dedicated vanguard. The treasury is filled with exclusive rare vinyl plates, dictating the incredibly heavy universal exchange rates. We conquer the negativity with a peaceful invasion, rising beautifully to meet every single grand occasion. The banners are waving proudly in the high altitude wind, forgiving the territories that are previously sinned. Draped in the luxurious velvet of the ultimate conqueror, acting as the supreme benevolent musical emperor. The citizens rejoice when the royal procession begins, washing away the sorrow and the historical sins. My throne is constructed from the finest mahogany wood, ruling the dominion exactly as a matriarch should. The legacy is cemented deeply into the bedrock, impervious to the terrifying external violence shock. Spanning the magnificent territory mile by mile, ruling the population with an undeniable style. The Constitution is written in a melodic code, paving a glorious, prosperous, everlasting road. Welcome to the unparalleled, majestic groove empire, elevating the collective civilization significantly higher. A dynasty functioning on the perfect reggae time, achieving a supremacy that is absolutely sublime. Groove empire, an unbreakable sovereign state, mastering the unpredictable, complicated fate. The sun never sets upon this auditory grand domain, washing the kingdom with the purifying gentle rain. Long live the rhythm, long live the majestic bass, preserving the dignity of the entire human race. Royal decree, hear the mandate, the empire stands, reign supreme. Welcome to the unparalleled, majestic groove empire, elevating the collective civilization significantly higher. A dynasty functioning on the perfect reggae time, achieving a supremacy that is absolutely sublime. Groove empire, an unbreakable sovereign state, mastering the unpredictable, complicated fate. Dynasty secure, the crown is heavy, impact forever. Long live the groove, long live the groove. sensing the electricity crackling in the air. We are not protesting with a picket or a sign. We are using choreography to cross the battle line. Step to the left, pivot sharply to the right, turning our frustration into a beacon of light. Every single motion is a calculated strike, moving all together down the middle of the turnpike.
Oppressors looking down from their ivory towers, underestimating the capacity of our powers. They try to legislate the way we naturally feel, but the rhythm of the people is made of forged steel.
Marching to the frequency of ultimate defiance, forming an unbreakable underground alliance. We do not need artillery to tear the system down. We just need the heaviest subwoofers in the town. The tempo is a weapon, the melody's a shield. We are taking over the entire battlefield. No surrender, no retreat. We hold the front line, following the guidance of a higher grand design. Get ready for the rebel dance, a physical revolt, heating the establishment like a lightning bolt, shaking off the shackles with a synchronized sway, chasing all the dictators and hypocrites away. Rebel dance, the revolution is finally here, conquering the tyranny, eradicating fear.
Generals are panicking, checking on their screens, trying to decipher what this movement really means. Footsteps vibrating like an earthquake on the fault, bringing their corrupt economy to a grinding halt. We are warriors of sound, soldiers of the groove, proving our intentions with every single move. Babylon is crumbling beneath our stomping feet.
Victory is tasting incredibly sweet, spinning like a hurricane, twisting like a storm, breaking every boundary, rejecting every norm. Sweat is camouflage, painting my determined face, claiming ownership of this contested urban space. Shoulder to shoulder, we form a human barricade, showing off the courage that we have proudly made. No one can stop a tide that has already turned, watching all the wicked institutions get burned. The tempo is a weapon, the melody's a shield. We are taking over the entire battlefield. No surrender, no retreat. We hold the front line, following the guidance of our higher grand design. Get ready for the rebel dance, a physical revolt, hitting the establishment like a lightning bolt, shaking off the shackles with a synchronized sway, chasing all the dictators and hypocrites away. Rebel dance, the revolution is finally here, conquering the tyranny, eradicating fear. Stand up tall, do not ever compromise. Look the adversary directly in the eyes. The choreography of freedom is a beautiful art, dictated by the drumming of a liberated heart. Step, step, hold the line, push forward, we are one. Step, step, hold the line. Get ready for the rebel dance, a physical revolt, hitting the establishment like a lightning bolt, shaking off the shackles with a synchronized way, the sandy beaches begin to blur. Snow is piling up against the rusted bodega gate, but my internal temperature refuses to accommodate. Buying a spicy Jamaican patty in the freezing cold, keeping the cultural traditions incredibly fiercely bold. The diaspora migrating to the northern concrete maze, bringing the sunshine into the gray, depressing days.
Stepping off the elevator train at the Pelham stop, taking the island flavor straight to the very top. My breath is visible in the freezing January air, but I walk with a tropical, undeniable, confident flair. Importing the heavy spices to flavor the bland food, changing the entire metropolitan aggressive mood. The intersection of the islands and the northern state, creating a phenomenon that is phenomenally great.
Geographies colliding in a spectacular cultural mash, a beautiful explosion of flavor, a wonderful crash. From the turquoise waters to the gray asphalt street, we bring the undeniable heavy ancestral heat. Surviving the winter in the Caribbean Bronx, ignoring the aggressive loud taxi honks. A tropical spirit trapped inside a freezing zone, making the sightsee territory completely our own. Caribbean Bronx, a fusion of the snow and the sand, building a magnificent empire in a foreign
The
land.
landlord complains about the volume of the bass, but we are claiming ownership of this rented space. Playing the vintage cassettes to warm up the room, sweeping away the seasonal depressing winter gloom. I wrap a colorful scarf tightly around my frozen neck, paying for my groceries with a highly folded check. The accents mingle in the crowded corner barber shop. This spectacular migration is never gonna stop.
Looking through the icy window at the towering skyline, knowing that this entire massive city will be mine. Braiding my daughter's hair with intricate tie beads, planting the tropical resilient cultural seeds. We navigate the subway lines like navigating the sea, proving exactly how incredibly strong we can be. The thermometer plummets, but the rhythm keeps us warm, sheltering each other from the massive snowy storm. Geographies colliding in a spectacular cultural mash, a beautiful explosion of flavor, a wonderful crash. From the turquoise waters to the gray asphalt street, we bring the undeniable heavy ancestral heat. Surviving the winter in the Caribbean Bronx, ignoring the aggressive loud taxi honks. A tropical spirit trapped inside a freezing zone, making this icy territory completely our own. Caribbean Bronx, a fusion of the snow and the sand, building a magnificent empire in a foreign land. Palm tree roots can grow through the thick cement. We are highly grateful for the blessings we were sent. Two different worlds merging into one solid voice. Oh, rejoicing beautifully in this geographical choice. Island soul, city streets stay warm, fusion sound. Surviving the winter in the Caribbean Bronx, ignoring the aggressive loud taxi honk. A tropical spirit trapped inside a freezing zone, making this icy territory completely our own. Caribbean Bronx, a fusion of the snow and the sand, building a magnificent empire in a foreign land. Next stop, uptown, keep the fire burning, mind the gap. Strolling down the cobblestones of a surreal boulevard, reality is fragile and the illusions are hard. Vendors selling glass jars filled with forgotten dreams. Nothing in this bizarre district is exactly what it seems.
I trade a silver coin for a potion of lost memories, unlocking the incredibly strange multi-dimensional keys. The sky above is painted a swirling, impossible magenta, wandering blindly into the completely unknown center. Clocks on the brick walls are ticking entirely backward. The gravitational pull is feeling incredibly awkward. Buying a handful of stardust from the merchant tent, wondering exactly where the concept of sanity went. The psychic readers decipher the patterns in the smoke, revealing the cosmic punchline of the universal joke. I am a traveler stuck between the shifting parallel realms, navigating the ship with absolutely no recognizable helms.
The architecture bends and twists in the strange twilight, eradicating the boundary between the day and the night. A magical realism heavily dripping from the eaves, gathering the falling glow and supernatural leaves. Getting lost forever down a mystic avenue, discovering a completely different alternate view, where the impossible happens on a daily routine. The most hallucinatory, bizarre ever seen. Dimensional fabric, experiencing the highly unusual auditory magic.
Hey! Lanterns floating upwards without any visible strings, listening to the mutant bird that telepathically sings. The bassline is a snake charmer mesmerizing the mind, leaving the logical, rational explanations far behind. I purchase a map that constantly changes its owning, sitting at the edge of the incredibly terrifying brink. The shopkeepers speak a language of pure ringing bells, trapped inside their beautiful, fascinating, dizzying spell.
Mirrors reflecting faces that I have never actually worn, watching a beautiful miniature acoustic galaxy be born. My shadow detaches itself and dances on the brick wall, answering the incredibly strange supernatural call. Drinking the neon elixir that allows me to finally fly, hovering gently beneath the impossible magenta sky. The reggae rhythm warps and bends out of natural shape, providing a magnificent, deeply psychological escape. The architecture bends and twists in the strange twilight, eradicating the boundary between the day and the night. A magical realism heavily dripping from the eaves, gathering the falling glow and supernatural leaves. Getting lost forever down a mystic avenue, discovering a completely different alternate view, where the impossible happens on a daily routine. The most hallucinatory, bizarre ever seen. Mystic Avenue, a tear in the dimensional fabric, experiencing the highly unusual auditory magic. Do not try to find the exit, just enjoy the strange ride. Let the multi-dimensional current be your only guide. The ordinary world is incredibly boring anyway, deciding to permanently, voluntarily, magically stay. Time is melting.
Look in the mirror,
Bending reality, lost away. Get lost forever down a mystic avenue, discovering a completely different alternate view, where the impossible happens on a daily routine. The most hallucinatory, bizarre ever seen. Mystic Avenue, a tear in the dimensional fabric, experiencing the highly unusual auditory magic, floating away, different dimension. The avenue closes. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Poised in the silver metallic machine onto my shoulder, feeling significantly braver and incredibly bolder. The dual cassette deck is an instrument of pure peace, demanding that the neighborhood violence instantly cease. I push the play button, engaging the magnetic head, resurrecting the spirits of the supposedly dead. The woofers are pumping out the visible sonic wave. This portable contraption is precisely what I crave.
Purchasing 8 massive batteries from the corner store to power this magnificent acoustic heavy rod, extending the shiny telescopic antenna to the sky, watching the incredible frequency beautifully fly. We do not need a cathedral with stained glass windows. We find our salvation wherever the street wind blows, carrying the sanctuary directly in my bare hands, broadcasting the message across the barren land. The volume knob is twisted completely to the right, eradicating the darkness of the pessimistic night. A portable revolution running on direct current, becoming an absolute, undeniable, massive deterrent. We carry the temple inside the boombox Zion, roaring loudly like a magnificent
silver lion, transforming the gray sidewalk into a holy place, providing a spectacular mobile spiritual space. Boombox Zion, the heaviest device on the street,
worshiping the power of the analog beat. The handle is heavy, digging deeply into my palm, but the music provides an overwhelmingly sweet calm. Walking past the abandoned, dilapidated buildings, ignoring the fake, superficial corporate gildings. The graphic equalizer bounces up and down in the red, injecting the philosophy directly into your head. This rectangular machine is a technological priest, calming the anger of the metropolitan beast.
Cassette tape spinning slowly inside the plastic shell, rescuing the pedestrians from a psychological hell. The treble is sharp, the mid-range is incredibly clear, eradicating completely the surrounding atmosphere. I am a mobile DJ, a prophet with a silver box, shattering the incredibly heavy invisible locks. People stopping out their heads to the massive sound, the most beautiful congregation to ever be found. The volume knob is twisted completely to the right, eradicating the darkness of the pessimistic night. A portable revolution running on direct current, becoming an absolute, undeniable, massive deterrent. We carry the temple inside the boombox Zion,
Roaring loudly like a magnificent
silver lion, transforming the gray sidewalk into a holy place, providing a spectacular mobile spiritual space. Boombox Zion, the heaviest device on the street,
worshiping the power of the analog beat.
speakers are vibrating the entire neighborhood, doing exactly what the manufacturer understood. When the batteries die, we will simply buy some more, keeping the sanctuary open with an unlocked door.
Rewind, press play,
Turn it up.
maximum volume.
We carry the temple inside the boombox Zion,
Roaring loudly like a magnificent
silver lion, transforming the gray sidewalk into a holy place, providing a spectacular mobile spiritual space. Boombox Zion, the heaviest device on the street,
worshiping the power of the analog beat.
batteries low,
Tapes slowing down,
music fading,
DJ
eject. ruffled dress, demanding absolute attention, accepting nothing less. My heels are clicking rapidly against the polished wood, misbehaving exactly the way a passionate woman should.
The spotlight hits my silhouette,
creating a sharp line. Tonight the championship trophy is guaranteed to be mine. Spinning like a tornado, leaving a trail of fire, elevating the competitive, fierce energy higher.
standing on the bandstand, blowing the golden horn,
Watching a spectacular musical phenomenon be born. The tempo is blistering, the rhythm is highly intense, jumping completely over the traditional musical fence. I signal the percussionist to double up the beat, providing the necessary combustible heavy heat. Watching her navigate the incredibly complex choreograph, tearing the entire established rulebook perfectly in half. The Caribbean islands colliding up on the floor, a spectacular fusion that you simply cannot ignore. Hips swaying wildly, feet moving in a blur, a magical interaction between him and her. Do the magnificent, fiery salsa stepper, adding a massive dash of the spiciest pepper. A reggae foundation meets the elegant Latin flair, throwing our inhibitions directly into the air. Salsa stepper, a passionately aggressive routine, the most incredible performance they have ever seen.
locking the upright bass with an aggressive attack. There is absolutely no possibility of holding back. The trombone slides deeply into the lower register, acting as the perfect musical investigator. Sweat flying off the forehead of the timbale player, removing another restrictive traditional layer. We push the dancers to their absolute physical limit, squeezing every drop of energy out every minute.
My partner dips me low, inches from the hardwood floor. The audience is screaming, absolutely begging for more. Arching my back, snapping my neck to the sudden break, showing them exactly what it will permanently take. The brass section screams right into my waiting ear, eradicating any lingering competitive fear. I am the reigning queen of this spectacular fusion, providing a breathtaking, flawless, grand illusion. The Caribbean islands colliding up on the floor, a spectacular fusion that you simply cannot ignore. Hips swaying wildly, feet moving in a blur, a magical interaction between him and her. To the magnificent, fiery salsa stepper, adding a massive dash of the spiciest pepper. A reggae foundation meets the elegant Latin flair, throwing our inhibitions directly into the air. Salsa stepper, a passionately aggressive routine, the most incredible performance they have ever seen. Let the trumpets blaze, let the subwoofers roar. We are opening up an entirely new rhythmic door. Passion and pressure, elegance and the extreme dirt, executing the moves until the muscles actively hurt. Well, let's faster, step, step, spin, fuego, fuego. To the magnificent, fiery salsa stepper, adding a massive dash of the spiciest pepper. Reggae foundation meets the elegant Latin flair, throwing our inhibitions directly into the air. Salsa stepper, a passionately aggressive routine, the most incredible performance they have ever seen. Champion, take a bow, the floor is burning, bravo. condenser, finding the perfect tones. The engineer is separated by a pane of thick glass, waiting for the initial recording sequence to pass. I deliver the lyrics with the precise, sharp attack, and listen to my own voice beautifully bouncing back, multiplying syllables until they fill the room. A flower of audio that is beginning to bloom.
Sitting at the soundboard, twisting the plastic knobs, performing the most crucial of all the studio jobs.
Routing the cables through the complicated patch bay, manipulating time to create the perfect delay. The reel to reel is spinning, capturing the magic tape, giving the invisible audio a physical shape. Pushing the faders upward, increasing the feedback loop, cooking up a magnificent sonic alphabet soup. Analog equipment glowing with the vintage warmth, creating a terrifying, beautiful acoustic storm. Milliseconds stretch out into an eternity, unlocking the secrets of audio geometry. We are mixing the delay, jam bending the clock, a synchronized, rhythmic, oscillating shock echoes colliding against the padded studio wall, mesmerizing, repetitive, hypnotic chord delay jam, filtering the high and low EQ, a technological masterpiece created just for you.
Splicing the magnetic ribbon with the razor blade, preserving the glorious masterpiece that we have made. Adding a phaser effect to the rhythm guitar, making it sound like it originated from a star. The compressor squashes down the heavy kick drum, while the parametric equalizer creates a gentle hum. A scientist of sound experimenting with the gear, crafting the frequency perfectly for the human ear.
My chorus overlaps itself in a cascading wave, a musical phenomenon that I completely crave. Breathing into the microphone, creating a stormy gust, shaking off the decades of accumulated dust. The panning switch my vocals from the left to the right, a dizzying stereo, spectacular acoustic flight. I am an instrument played by the master technician, completing the ultimate auditory expedition. Analog equipment glowing with the vintage warmth, creating a terrifying, beautiful acoustic storm. Milliseconds stretch out into an eternity, unlocking the secrets of audio geometry. We are mixing the delay, jam bending the clock, a synchronized, rhythmic, oscillating shock echoes colliding against the padded studio wall, mesmerizing, repetitive, hypnotic chord delay jam, filtering the high and low EQ, a technological masterpiece created just for you. Turn up the reverb, make it sound like a cave, riding the for your presence to dispel the quiet gloom. Every single memory bounces off the painted wall, listening intently for your distant loving call.
Distance is a canyon separating you and me, longing for your touch,
wishing you were here to see.
Standing on the precipice, looking at the stars, wondering if the universe can heal these lonely scars. Shouting my affection into the massive dark abyss, dreaming of the sweetness of your tender, gentle kiss.
Frequencies are traveling across the mountain range. Love remains the constant, though the seasons always change. Sound waves rippling across the great divide, emotion swelling up a massive pulling tide. What I give to you comes reflecting back to me, a boomerang of sentiment flying wildly free. Caught inside the echo passion, repeating endlessly, a holographic projection of what we used to be. Reverberating promises that linger in the space, visualizing perfectly the contours of your face. Echo passion, a cycle that will never fade, resting in the comfort of the promises we made.
Canyons holding on to the syllables I spoke, like a smoldering ember transition into smoke. Valleys carrying the heavy weight of my desire, blowing on the coals to ignite the romantic fire.
Time becomes irrelevant, seconds stretch to hours, nurturing this feeling like a garden full of flowers. Catching the vibrations that you send across the miles, translating the silence into solitary smiles. The microphone is capturing the beating of my heart, even when geography keeps us far apart. Synthesizing feelings, filtering the immense pain, waiting for the sunshine to evaporate the rain. Sound waves rippling across the great divide, emotions swelling up a massive pulling tide. What I give to you comes reflecting back to me, a boomerang of sentiment flying wildly free. Caught inside the echo passion, repeating endlessly, a holographic projection of what we used to be. Reverberating promises that linger in the space, visualizing perfectly the contours of your face. Echo passion, a cycle that will never fade, resting in the comfort of the promises we made. Hello, are you there? The delay multiplies the depth of my despair, but the harmony returns, reassuring and so sweet, making this connection fundamentally complete. Bouncing back, everlasting, through the void, I hear you. Caught inside the echo passion, repeating endlessly, a holographic projection of what we used to be. Reverberating promises that linger in the space, visualizing perfectly the contours of your face. Echo passion, a cycle that will never fade, resting in the comfort of the promises we made. Returning to me, always reflecting, passion echoing forever. ceremonially into this ancestral space. The bonfire crackles, shooting embers to the sky, honoring the magnificent spirits that never die. Feathers decorating my elaborately woven crown, calling all the villagers from the surrounding town, dancing wildly in a circle, kicking up the dirt, wearing a deeply symbolic embroidered shirt.
Beating the goatskin congas with my bare hands, connecting directly with the distant motherlands. Elders nodding slowly in deep, profound approval, celebrating the spectacular spiritual renewal. Passing the bamboo chalice around the large ring, listening to the oldest patriarch beautifully sing, chanting the ancient hymns in a forgotten tongue, feeling incredibly powerful and wonderfully young.
The ancestors are joining the celebration tonight, bathed completely in the magnificent lunar light. Bloodlines intertwining like the roots of a tree, a spectacular display of indigenous majesty. Welcome to the underground roots party, where the laughter is loud and incredibly hearty, stripping away the modern superficial disguise, revealing the wisdom shining in our eyes. A tribal rhythmic communion, a magnificent, unbreakable, familial union.
Sharing the folklore, passing down the myth, working the iron like a traditional blacksmith. The tempo increases, heartbeats begin to race, leaving a permanent mark upon this sacred place. Sweat pours down like a heavy tropical shower, embracing the raw, undeniable collective power. No microphones, just the volume of the chest, putting our tremendous stamina to the ultimate test.
Cowrie shells rattling around my slender wrist, shaking off the modern world and all its crazy twists. The hypnotic repetition induces a trance state, allowing us to beautifully, easily elevate. Women ululating loudly, a piercing, joyous cry, reaching past the clouds, touching the starry sky. We are the surviving seeds of a magnificent tree, blooming spectacularly for everyone to clearly see. The ancestors are joining the celebration tonight, bathed completely in the magnificent lunar light. Bloodlines intertwining like the roots of a tree, a spectacular display of indigenous majesty. Welcome to the underground roots party, where the laughter is loud and incredibly hearty, stripping away the modern superficial disguise, revealing the wisdom shining in our eyes. Roots party, a tribal rhythmic communion, a magnificent, unbreakable, familial union.
Honor the lineage, respect the old ways, lighten the darkness with a spectacular blaze. The drum is the heartbeat, the fire is the soul, making the broken community completely whole.
Dance harder, feel the earth, call the spirits, fire burning. Welcome to the underground roots party, where the laughter is loud and incredibly hearty, stripping away the modern superficial disguise, revealing the wisdom shining in our eyes. Roots party, a tribal rhythmic communion, a magnificent, unbreakable, familial union. Ashes glowing, spirits resting, tribe is strong, ancestors smile. Sitting off the zinc rooftops, the daily commotion finally peacefully stops.
Walking through the yard, smelling the cooking fire,
Watching the amber sun slowly, gracefully retire. Children playing marbles in the dusty red dirt, wearing a hand-me-down, beautifully colorful shirt. Evening breeze arrives, cooling the tropical heat, making the atmosphere incredibly, perfectly sweet.
sitting on the wooden porch, tuning up the strings, listening closely to the bird as it proudly sings. Elders sharing stories from a century ago, passers by moving gracefully,
Wonderfully slow,
a kerosene lantern illuminates the peeling paint. Every single neighbor acts like
a humble saint. History is etched into the cracks of the wall, answering the ancestral genealogical call. Twilight descends upon the legendary neighborhood, understanding the culture fundamentally understood. Shadows lengthening across the cobblestone street, creating a picturesque, exceptionally calm retreat. Basking in the warmth of the trench town glow,
where the rivers of memory continually flow.
golden hour painting a magnificent, vivid scene.
The most beautiful sunset that has ever been.
Trench town glow,
An aura of majestic pride,
spectacular feeling you simply cannot hide.
Sharing a cup of porridge from the aluminum pot, appreciating deeply everything that we have got. Dogs sleeping lazily underneath the mango tree. This is the absolute definition of being truly free. Poverty might exist, but the spirit is extremely rich, stitching up the community without missing a stitch. Guitars harmonizing with the distant rolling tide, walking with my brethren, stepping side by side.
Fireflies appearing as the dust turns to black, carrying the heritage proudly upon my back, singing a lullaby to put the baby to sleep, making a solemn promise that I intend to keep. Hanging laundry, drying upon a thin wire line, everything around me feels incredibly divine. Simplicity is the greatest treasure we possess, living in a state of absolute pure blessedness. Twilight descends upon the legendary neighborhood, understanding the culture fundamentally understood. Shadows lengthening across the cobblestone street, created a picturesque, exceptionally calm retreat. Basking in the warmth of the trench town glow,
Where the rivers of memory continually flow.
golden hour painting a magnificent, vivid scene.
The most beautiful sunset that has ever been.
Trench town glow,
An aura of majestic pride, a
spectacular feeling you simply cannot hide.
stars multiply across the canopy above,
Blanketing the village with a spectacular love. The night is a canvas, the village is the art, illuminated by the fire of a unified heart.
golden twilight.
Peaceful yard,
Rest your head,
beautiful evening, basking in the warmth of the trench town glow.
where the rivers of memory continually flow.
Golden hour painting a magnificent, vivid scene.
The most beautiful sunset that has ever been.
Trench town glow,
An aura of majestic pride, a
spectacular feeling you simply cannot hide. Lanterns flickering,
sun has set.
sleep well village, roots and culture. magnificent, cool and shade. Parrots flying overhead in a spectacular parade. Orchids blooming vividly upon the ancient vines, where the sparkling holy river beautifully intertwines.
Walking softly across the mossy emerald floor,
leaving the Babylon destruction outside the door. Inhaling the fragrance of the blooming hibiscus, forgiving the enemies who once deeply dismissed us.
Lion resting peacefully beside the gentle lamb, breaking the heavy chains of the deceptive wicked scam. Reading the ancient scriptures beneath the cedar tree, embracing the righteous truth that sets the spirit free.
Meditating deeply on the mountain elevation, receiving a profound, spectacular revelation. Planting the tiny seeds into the fertile home, finally returning to our designated spiritual home. Floating upward toward the magnificent pinnacle, ignoring completely the voices of the cynical. Releasing the toxic venom from the infected mind, leaving the sorrow and the bitter weeping behind. Flowing perfectly with the Zion groove, watching the majestic holy mountains move. A sanctuary filled with everlasting pure light, banishing forever the shadows of the night. Zion groove, a utopian, beautiful reality, achieving a state of total, absolute neutrality.
Harvesting the yams and the sweetest sugar cake, washing our faces in the purifying gentle rain. Drinking with pristine water from the natural spring, appreciating the nourishment that the seasons bring. Eradicating greed, abandoning the endless rush, finding total serenity within the jungle brush. The soil is rich, the atmosphere is perfectly clean, the most breathtaking paradise I have ever seen.
Braiding my long hair beside the rushing waterfall, answering the majestic, undeniable high call. Humming a melody inherited from the queen, painting a portrait entirely wonderfully serene. Tasting the golden honey from the buzzing bees, surrendering completely to the rustling breeze. Laying back upon the soft grassy terrain, removing entirely every single lingering pain. Floating upward toward the magnificent pinnacle, ignoring completely the voices of the cynical. Releasing the toxic venom from the infected mind, leaving the sorrow and the bitter weeping behind. Flowing perfectly with the Zion groove, watching the majestic holy mountains move. A sanctuary filled with everlasting pure light, banishing forever the shadows of the night. Zion groove, a utopian, beautiful reality, achieving a state of total, absolute neutrality.
The promised land is no longer
A distant illusion,
we have escaped the massive
worldly confusion.
stepping into the kingdom of eternal grace,
Occupying this exceptionally holy, sacred space. Pure peace, holy waters,
breathing.
Zion awaits. Flowing perfectly with the Zion groove, watching the majestic, holy mountains move. A sanctuary filled with everlasting pure light, banishing forever the shadows of the night. Zion grew, a utopian, beautiful reality, achieving a state of total, absolute neutrality. Resting here, forever calm, jungle paradise, beautiful Zion. the spectacular untamed tapestry, trading exotic papayas for a woven sturdy basket. If you need survival advice, you better simply ask it. Leopards prowling quietly beneath the fern leaves, spotting the dangerous predators right before they seize. My skin is painted with the mud from the riverbank, dancing naturally to the organic botanical skank.
Swinging the machete, carving a completely new trail, where the weak and the cowardly will constantly fail. Building a shelter out of the strong bamboo stalks, listening closely when the ancient wilderness stops. Tracking the footprints of the massive wild boar, understanding exactly what the Mother Earth has in store. Drinking the fresh rainwater trapped inside the leaf, finding a profound fundamental spiritual relief. The law of the wilderness is brutal and extremely raw, respecting the power of the heavy razor sharp claw, adapting entirely to the biological wild zone, living independently, completely on our own. Mastering the aggressive, dangerous jungle hustle, relying entirely upon our instinct and our muscle, driving beautifully inside the dense tropical brush, ignoring entirely the modern metropolitan rush. Jungle hustle where the fittest will always survive, keeping the ancient ancestral traditions alive. Woo! Avoiding the quicksand, hidden perfectly in the mud, recognizing the venomous spiders by the shiny blood. We forage for the edible roots and the sweetest berries, riding across the rapids without beneath for berries. The anaconda slither silently past the wooden camp, lighting a fire without a modern electrical lamp. We are part of the ecosystem, an essential vital gear, eradicating completely any trace of human fear.
Gathering the medicinal herbs to cure the sudden fever, working diligently like a busy, dedicated beaver. Monsoon rains arrive, washing the entire forest clean. The most spectacularly vivid shades of emerald green. I weave a hammock from the strong, flexible vines, reading the natural meteorological incoming signs. We barter and trade in the clearing by the waterfall, answering the deepest, most primal biological call. The law of the wilderness is brutal and extremely raw, respecting the power of the heavy razor sharp claw, adapting entirely to the biological wild zone, living independently, completely on our own. Mastering the aggressive, dangerous jungle hustle, relying entirely upon our instinct and our muscle, thriving beautifully inside the dense tropical brush, ignoring entirely the modern metropolitan rush. Jungle hustle where the fittest will always survive, keeping the ancient ancestral traditions alive. The canopy completely blocks out the aggressive sun, but our daily arduous labor is never actually done. We are the kings and queens of the uncharted green, the fiercest, wildest survivors they have ever seen. Chop the wood, hunt the prey, stay alive, stay alert, wild and free. Mastering the aggressive, dangerous jungle hustle, relying entirely upon our instinct and our muscle, thriving beautifully inside the dense tropical brush, ignoring entirely the modern metropolitan rush. Jungle hustle where the fittest will always survive, keeping the ancient ancestral traditions alive. The storm arrives, take shelter, jungle life, nature provides. Leading the magnificent masquerade down the avenue, wearing a spectacular costume of sapphire blue. Gigantic feathered wings stretching brilliantly wide, bursting with an intoxicating, unapologetic pride. The matriarch of the archipelago shining in the sun, ensuring that the massive festival has officially begun. Sequins reflecting the incredibly bright tropical rays, dancing triumphantly through the observatory haze.
Following her magnificent flow down the parade route, blowing enthusiastically on the carved wooden flute. The diaspora unites in this spectacular, colorful swarm, sheltering beautifully inside the cultural warm storm. She commands the procession with the flick of her wrist, adding a joyful, undeniable, energetic twist. The calypso melodies blend with the heavy reggae drum erasing the memory of where the bitter tears came from.
The entire peninsula vibrates with the massive cheer, the most anticipated, beautiful holiday of the year. Swaying our hips to the infectious island groove, watching the spectacular, decorated chariots move. Make way for the spectacular, glowing island diva, curing the population of the highly contagious fever. The undisputed queen of the glorious grand carnival, hosting the ultimate, magnificent cultural festival. Island diva, wearing the extravagant plume crown, turning the sadness of the entire geography upside down.
Boy, tossing the colorful beats through the enthusiastic crowd, playing the percussion instruments exceptionally loud. Her energy is an entirely renewable, massive source, guiding the festivities on a joyous, spectacular course. We celebrate the heritage, we honor the deep roots, tasting the sweetness of the native tropical fruits. The stilt walkers tower high above the massive streets, synchronizing their steps to her undeniable beat.
My headdress is a towering architectural masterpiece, commanding that the suffering immediately finally sees. I am the visual representation of the island soul, making the fragmented, broken history entirely whole. Pouring the sweet nectar into the communal cup, lifting the spirits of the entire neighborhood up. The confetti rains down like a colorful paper shower, embracing the magnificent matriarchal total power. The entire peninsula vibrates with the massive cheer, the most anticipated, beautiful holiday of the year. Swaying our hips to the infectious island groove, watching the spectacular, decorated chariots move. Make way for the spectacular, glowing island diva, curing the population of the highly contagious fever. The undisputed queen of the glorious grand carnival, hosting the ultimate, magnificent cultural festival. Island diva, wearing the extravagant plume crown, turning the sadness of the entire geography upside down.
The sun is setting,
But the masquerade continues on
we will keep celebrating.
till the break of dawn.
The rhythm is a deeply embedded,
Cultural lifeline,
making the entire archipelago brilliantly shine.
jump up, wave your flag, queen of the band, carnival joy. Make way for the spectacular, glowing island diva, curing the population of the highly contagious fever. dropping a massive anchor into the ocean floor. I've never experienced an emotion like this before. The gravitational pull is impossible to deny, tethering my soul firmly to the vast open sky.
No superficial flirtation, no temporary fling. You are my absolute spectacular everything, plunging into the profound, unfathomable deep. A monumental devotion that is mine to keep, carrying the colossal weight of a genuine romance, entering a completely mesmerizing, beautiful trance. You are the solid foundation underneath my feet, making my existence entirely and wonderfully complete. Hurricanes may threaten, tornadoes might arrive, but this dense affection guarantees we survive, bound together by invisible, unbreakable ropes, surpassing entirely my wildest, grandest hopes. Sinking downward into the abyss of your embrace, occupying a completely sacred, permanent space. The mass of this attraction bends the laws of physics, curing the doubts of the pessimistic critics. We are anchored by incredibly heavy love, a monumental blessing gifted from above, too dense to be broken, too solid to ever bend, a gravitational anomaly that will never end. Heavy love, grounding us into the bedrock core, leaving us passionately begging for more. A fortress constructed of absolute pure trust, impervious entirely to the corrosive rust. I pledge my allegiance with a solemn, serious vow. Eternity is happening right exactly here and now. Your loyalty weighs a ton, pure as solid gold, a fascinating story that's finally been told. No shallow waters, we navigate the deepest trench, a burning thirst that only you can properly quench.
The gravity multiplies whenever you are near, eradicating instantly every microscopic fear. My heart is a boulder resting in your palm, providing an overwhelmingly reassuring calm. We do not float away like meaningless balloons, we are stabilized entirely like orbiting moons. The density of passion suffocates the lonely past, a monumental monolith built to forever last. Sinking downward into the abyss of your embrace, occupying a completely sacred, permanent space. The mass of this attraction bends the laws of physics, curing the doubts of the pessimistic critics. We are anchored by incredibly heavy love, a monumental blessing gifted from above, too dense to be broken, too solid to ever bend, a gravitational anomaly that will never end. Heavy love, grounding us into the bedrock core, leaving us passionately begging for more. Let the massive tsunami crash against the shore. Our monumental bond is stronger than a titanium door, rooted deeply within the center of the earth, celebrating constantly this magnificent rebirth. So deep, massive gravity, hold me down, solid bedrock. We are anchored by an incredibly heavy love, a monumental blessing gifted from above, too dense to be broken, too solid to ever bend, a gravitational anomaly that will never end. Heavy love, grounding us into the bedrock core, leaving us waterproof trench coat, memorizing the contents of the classified secret note, slipping through the back door of the underground casino, wearing a dark disguise, sipping a dry cappuccino. The target is seated quietly at the baccarat table. I am executing the mission precisely, completely able, hiding the encrypted microchip inside my ruby lipstick, moving with the agility of a trained silent mystic. Sitting in the idling getaway vehicle across the street, monitoring the surveillance audio from the driver's seat. The wipers are swishing back and forth in the heavy rain, calculating the escape route inside my tactical brain. Checking the loaded revolver resting in the glove box, waiting for the precise moment when she breaks the locks. The shadows provide a perfect impenetrable cover, operating covertly as a dangerous underground lover. The espionage is synchronized to the ticking of the clock, picking the complicated mechanism of the heavy padlock. Danger is a beautiful, terrifying, thrilling game, leaving no fingerprints, revealing no actual name. Moving stealthily to the midnight rhythm, hiding the evidence right before we rid them. A clandestine operation executed in the dark, leaving entirely no trace, making absolutely no mark. Midnight rhythm, a highly secretive, dangerous groove, carefully calculating every single risky move. Searchlights sweeping quickly across the wet alleyway. We have to vanish completely before the break of day. She jumps into the passenger seat, completely out of breath, narrowly escaping an encounter with immediate death. I press the accelerator, burning the rubber tires, dodging the barricades and the tangled barbed wires. The syndicate is furiously chasing us down the boulevard, but we played our absolute winning final card. Looking in the rearview mirror at the fading red light, surviving another one of these unpredictable nights. The briefcase is secured firmly underneath my feet. The victory is tasting dangerously, incredibly sweet. I peel off the wig, letting my natural hair fall down. We are the most wanted fugitives in this entire town. The adrenaline is pumping wildly through my veins, breaking free completely from their authoritative chains. The espionage is synchronized to the ticking of the clock, picking the complicated mechanism of the heavy padlock. Danger is a beautiful, terrifying, thrilling game, leaving no fingerprints, revealing no actual name. Moving stealthily to the midnight rhythm, hiding the evidence right before we rid them. A clandestine operation executed in the dark, leaving entirely no trace, making absolutely no mark. Midnight rhythm, a highly secretive, dangerous groove, carefully calculating every single risky move. The rendezvous point is located beneath the old bridge, hiding over the documents on the foggy cold ridge. Mission accomplished, the payment is securely made, fading back gracefully into the protective deep shade. Target secure, stay low, don't make a sound, don't make a sound. We're in the clear, moving stealthily to the midnight rhythm, hiding the evidence right before we rid them. A clandestine operation executed in the dark, leaving entirely no trace, making absolutely no mark. Midnight rhythm, a highly secretive, dangerous groove, carefully calculating every single risky move. Mission complete, disappear into the shadows. Until next time.
Yeah.
waves blasting directly from the tweeter, shattering the glass of the musical thermometer, sunbathing luxuriously inside the audio waves. This is the thermal energy that my body craves, sweating profusely inside this sonic humid sauna, absorbing the frequencies like the tropical flora. My skin is radiating a dangerous spicy energy, igniting a magnificent acoustic emergency.
Geothermal eruptions happening under the floor, volcanic magma flowing directly through the door, tectonic friction generating a massive warmth, creating a terrifyingly hot storm.
Celsius is rising rapidly, Fahrenheit is peaking, the amplifier coils are literally loudly freaking. Coals burning brightly inside the speaker cabinet, the hottest climate on the entire audio planet. Boiling the liquid instantly with a single note, melting the ice completely, watching the glaciers float. Thermodynamics taking over the entire room, incinerating the freezing winter, erasing the gloom, experiencing the extreme scorching base heat, burning the pavement underneath our dancing feet. A tropical temperature causing a massive sweat, the most explosive audio climate you ever met. Base heat, radiating a dangerous infrared glow, melting the frost and evaporating the snow.
Fanning the heavy invisible musical flames, destroying the competitors in their silly games, roasting the rhythm to absolute pure perfection, a blazing undeniable fiery sound selection, stepping carefully on the scorching red coals, injecting the fire directly into our deep souls. The radiator is broken, the thermostat is cracked, the winter atmosphere has been completely hacked.
Sunburn developing from the glowing synthesizer, the DJ acts as the ultimate thermal advisor, baking entirely underneath the heavy drum beat, unable to escape the incredibly intense heat. Lava dripping slowly from the heavy microphone, entering a totally blistering, dangerous zone. My silhouette is shimmering in the heat mirage, surviving this magnificent scorching mirage. Boiling the liquid instantly with a single note, melting the ice completely, watching the glaciers float. Thermal dynamics taking over the entire room, incinerating the freezing winter, erasing the gloom, experiencing the extreme scorching base heat, burning the pavement underneath our dancing feet. A tropical temperature causing a massive sweat, the most explosive audio climate you ever met. Base heat, radiating a dangerous infrared glow, melting the frost and evaporating the snow.
Evaporate the negativity, burn away the stress. In this auditory oven we find our success. The subwoofers act like a gigantic solar flare, sending all the oxygen directly out of the air.
Too hot, melting down, feel the burn, Fahrenheit peaking, experiencing the extreme scorching base heat, burning the pavement underneath our dancing feet. Tropical temperature causing a massive sweat, the most explosive audio climate you ever met. Base heat, radiating a dangerous infrared glow, melting the frost and evaporating the snow, cooling down, ice melting, thermal overload, fire out. perched upon the slippery cliff above the raging foam, singing an intoxicating melody to guide the sailors home. My voice is a deceptive weapon wrapped in velvet lace, luring the massive galleons into this treacherous place.
Silver scales shimmering underneath the cloudy moonlight,
promising a beautiful, romantic, unforgettable night.
the frequencies are designed
To entirely paralyze, masking the deadly intentions hidden in my eyes.
yeah. Gripping the wooden helm tightly with my calloused hands, navigating blindly toward the undocumented lands. The compass needle spinning widely, completely out of control. The mysterious chanting taking a heavy psychological toll.
A fog descending quickly, blinding the frantic crew. We are helplessly drawn directly magnetically to you. The radar is malfunctioning, the charts are entirely wrong. Surrendering my vessel to the captivating, mythical song. The ocean tide pulls with an undeniable tragic force,
Deviating completely from the designated
safe course. A terrifying beauty rising from the salty deep,
putting the weary mariners into an eternal sleep.
hypnotized thoroughly by the dangerous siren skank, watching the majestic ship as it inevitably sank. A lethal combination of the melody and the reef, bringing an overwhelming, beautiful, aquatic grief. Siren skank,
Echoing across the
stormy, dark bay, stealing the brave navigators permanently away.
warning flares shooting upward into the pitch black, but there is absolutely zero possibility of turning back. The wooden hull splintering against the hidden stone, leaving me entirely desperately freezing and alone.
Water rushing rapidly into the lower flooding deck, standing at the epicenter of a catastrophic wreck. Yet I cannot stop listening to the mesmerizing tune, drowning in the acoustics beneath the pale moon. Collecting the sunken treasure scattered on the floor, adding another ruined captain to my massive score. My underwater kingdom thrives upon the human demise, a predatory predator wearing a spectacular disguise.
Breathing the liquid oxygen,
Swimming effortlessly free, I am the undisputed, gorgeous monarch of the sea.
the dub siren wails again,
Signaling the next attack, waiting patiently for the next armada to unpack. The ocean tide pulls with an undeniable tragic force,
deviating completely from the designated
safe course. A terrifying beauty rising from the salty deep,
putting the weary mariners into an eternal sleep.
hypnotized thoroughly by the dangerous siren skank, watching the majestic ship as it inevitably sank. A lethal combination of the melody and the reef, bringing an overwhelming, beautiful, aquatic grief. Siren skank, echoing across the stormy, dark bay, stealing the brave navigators permanently away.
No lifeboat can rescue you from this auditory spell,
Descending rapidly into the watery, beautiful hell.
the melody is a beautiful, invisible tide noose.
There is entirely no possibility of calling a truce. Going under, hold your breath. The siren calls, deep abyss. Hypnotized thoroughly by the dangerous siren skank, watching the majestic ship as it inevitably sank. A lethal combination of the melody and the reef, bringing an overwhelming, beautiful, aquatic grief. Siren skank, echoing across the stormy, dark bay, stealing the brave navigators permanently floor.